Let the revolution of your mind begin. Okay, friends, here we go. 3, 2, 1 with TNS Radio, broadcasting from Eire. That's Ireland for the rest of you. This is a film documentary made by Kevin O'Doherty on a visit to TNS Radio, Tinasaur, seeking solutions.
So how long have you had this huge, ginormous, spacious studio?
About a year and a half. Well, basically TNS was there was another website that had begun, and I was a member of that website, and one of the other members on the website gave me a call one day and he said, you know, Vin, I think I might be able to work out some way of making like a radio. And I said, well, wonderful, let's give it a bash, so he said what he needed, and I said, well, look, I happen to have a few extra computers, and he came up here and I don't know how, but we got it working eventually.
Okay, in this clip we see 6'5" Vin towering over me, offering his solution to being asked for a picture ID by the Garda.
Hey, I'd ask him, hey, what date is it today? You know, do you know what date it is?
I believe it's
And he's going to tell me, because I'm going to act.
okay, April 1st then.
Okay, so that would be 1st of the 4th, yeah?
Yeah, it's like 2012 or something.
Okay, and right, identification, ID entity. So that's the best I can do for you right now. And if that's not good enough for you, call your boss. And the reason that's good is it's got a picture. That's picture ID. Okay. It's got a picture apparently. It's got identity on it. Oh, yeah. I might have had the word official.
Okay.
I probably would have put official. By whomever. That's the signature, which is what authorizes your passport. That's how you authorize. And it's got a date. That's got all the elements for identification that he needs. Over time, there was so many freedom sites, if you will, springing up all over the internet.
Yeah.
That I decided it would be prudent to have a separate site just for the radio chat box alone. Because I was having to go to all these different websites to see comments and get questions.
No, I don't have identification.
Well, then sure, we don't know who you are. That's a piece of
There's the
paper.
warrant signed by the county registrar.
Yeah, but who are you?
County Sheriff Pat Dunn is my name.
Right.
Mr. Wilson knows me here.
Yeah, but are you the sheriff or not the sheriff?
I'm here representing the sheriff.
Representing the
Yeah,
sheriff.
but we rang your office yesterday and you told us outright you were the sheriff.
I built the website using one of these Ning packages. And it works, it's efficient. I suppose it's expensive compared to most websites, but it left me alone to focus on radio and giving it away to people. The dwelling of every citizen is inviolable and shall not be forcefully entered save in accordance with law. How you going, lad? Just letting you know, some guys in blue suits banging at the door here. 2 at the moment. I don't know what the hell it's to do with, to be honest with you, so. I don't recognise you. Huh? Just check that. Yeah, everything's secure here. Sure, yeah. Now I understand the reasons people have this fear. I personally don't. I've lost all that because I've taken the time to read their material, and when you read their material you realise they must follow this. So there's a couple of guys here and they're banging. One guy has some of a house roll stuff or something on him. And they're still knocking there. I don't know if you can you hear them, can you? This is the Constitution. According to them, they take make their oath rather under this. I was reared up by my parents to know the difference between right and wrong. Not to guess, to know the difference between right and wrong. Still banging. And in this section here in particular, the state recognises the family as the natural, primary and fundamental unit group of society as a moral institution possessing inalienable and imprescriptible rights, antecedent and superior to all positive law. I don't recognise in blue suits at my home, my dwelling, and right now they're banging out the front. So to consent, assent, accede, acquiesce, permit, allow. People really need to think about these words and what you're doing when you sign off on them or when you select one or the other. And most people don't know what positive law is as opposed to law, where, for example, if you skip back here to Article 40, the dwelling of every citizen is inviolable and shall not be forcibly entered save in accordance with law. It doesn't have positive law here, but it does have positive law here. Now, it mentions positive law one more time in the Constitution.
A lot of people say we've no control over how this country is run.
But in reality, we have the final say on the most important document in our society.
Our Constitution.
The Constitution sets out the framework for our country.
And defines our entire legal system.
And it can only be changed if we the people say so.
But Article 41 is still there.
The direct literal translation is as follows.
The state recognises the family as the natural, primary and fundamental unit group of society and as a moral institution
which has inalienable, invincible rights, which are more ancient and higher than any human statute.
Antecedent and superior to all positive law. That's still there. It's not changed.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit like saying you have a bucket of fresh milk and you put a cup of slurry into it, and then you say, well, you know, the milk was still there, the fresh milk is still there, but we don't need to worry now. This is really a jug full of slurry going into this whole, changing everything.
They're gone, Andrew. I mean, if these people could really make laws, well, gravity is a law. If they could suspend gravity for, I don't know, 2 minutes over 20 square foot of the earth, you know what, I'd shut the hell up.
But this is no radio station confined to a studio.
Are you on your guard out here today?
Its activists and filmmakers go out into the field. This is what you call show, not tell.
You're not the sheriff. You just said you're deputy sheriff. Now, are you the sheriff? Hold on. Are you the sheriff or not the sheriff?
Look, I've no further comment to make.
Then, okay, but then sure, go on about your business then, because you've no business here. Your warrant is signed by the sheriff. Ben Gilroy is my name.
Yes. And who are you representing?
I'm representing Defend Our Homes League here today.
Yeah.
Right? Now, what I'm saying to you is, that order is signed by the sheriff.
Yeah.
Right, so he's making his own orders as a private company to come and take homes.
Got to get some food on here for the family, and we'll be able to calm down a little.
This is fully legal, okay?
It's what?
If you want to go to the courts and contest the order, you're more than free to do it.
Hold on, but the registrar is the guy up on the bench where they're doing the orders, and he's signing his own orders and coming as sheriff then to inflict them.
Yeah, the sheriff, county registrar, exactly.
Yes, that's my point.
He's the sheriff,
so
county
that's
registrar.
not lawful. He sits up on the bench with his registrar's hat on, makes an order, steps down, puts on his sheriff's hat, and now makes money out of inflicting these orders on people.
What do you mean makes money?
He's making money as registrar, or as the sheriff.
Because it's the only website I've ever come across that the moment you log on, you've got the radio player, you've got the chat box, it's live, we hide nothing from nobody, everything is out in the open, I mean everything, warts and all, it's all out in the open. And if we say something, I start basically asking people far and wide who's interested in coming on TNS, taking a slot, we'll give them everything they need software wise, etc. So that's where it started, and where it's going, who knows.
But the point is, when I'm saying to you about the sheriff's office, when I go to the courts, the sheriff then puts on his court hat. That's totally illegal, and there's no separation of powers there.
I had a non-fluoridated water, by the way. Not having that happen, in other words. Did you see the video we made where we went and found an old pump?
No.
And we just repaired it. You know, like the village pump with the cow tail.
The ground base, yeah.
Yeah, so we went and there was one up the hill up the way here, on the way to Ardgillan Castle. Every couple of days I go up now and fill up. This is the well water. Okay, let's do the Pepsi challenge.
Yeah.
There's 2 empty glasses straight out of the dishwasher.
Yeah.
Here's the well water.
Yeah.
So in my left hand is the well water.
It doesn't smell too good.
That would be the tap.
It's gotta be the bad one.
Okay, this one is the well water. No smell, right?
Oh yeah, that's more like
Water.
yeah.
You casting those versions, Jimmy?
Yeah, it's very different.
I would say in the last 5 years it's turned into chemical soup.
So you're paying a lot for your water then?
We don't pay for water.
Right, that'll
No.
be why then probably.
Seemingly they're introducing this new water charge. Seemingly to the others, because it won't be hitting me, because I won't get involved in anything like that, because I understand I don't have to.
Because now the people have educated themselves, and they're not people with pitchforks anymore.
right, Jack.
They're educated people to stand up to
Jack,
the likes of
but
you
you're-
coming doing these orders.
Mr.
And we're asking the Gardaí today
Mr.
now to
Wilson-
uphold the law.
Mr. Wilson went into the courts and appealed it on various
And
grounds.
what business of that is yours? Like what I'm saying to you
It's
is
not-
you're a private company.
I'm not a private company.
You are. Who are you then?
I'm here from the Sheriff's
And
Department.
who pays your wages?
The Sheriff, the
Yes.
Civil Service.
Yes, exactly. They're a private company though. They act on commission.
We're not a private.
They act on commission.
Who does?
Do they act on commission or not, the Sheriff's Department?
I get absolutely nothing whatsoever for this today, other than my week's wages, which I will get on Friday.
And it's a proud week's wages to get. Come
Well,
and take
I
Irish
have
family
no-
homes off people.
Look, I'm sorry, I don't take any pleasure out of this, no more than anyone else.
Hello everyone, Vin here from TNS Radio. I'm outside number 171, seemingly road here. I'm joined by Ben Gilroy. Ben, how you doing?
Good, Ben, how's things?
Not too bad. Can you explain to the viewers here basically what happened here today, what transpired?
Yeah, somebody acting as a sheriff from the city of Dublin came to this house and they knocked. There was no one in, so they basically broke into the house and started robbing furniture. I'm sure they didn't notice the cameras because they're hard to notice.
And can I just point out just over Ben's head there?
There, there's a cat to see.
There's
Which
another.
is great.
There's another one over there. Okay, now I just want to get this straight to people. So what we're looking at there, that's one house there, and this is number 171, and this is number 173, I think. No, 173. Okay, now that's going to be significant. Can we just go inside and have a little walk through and explain to us what happened?
They broke in this door and started to remove furniture really quick. Now this is one house, this side, and if you come this side, see this is a second house. But this is where the furniture was, like you can clearly see.
Oh, okay, so I just want to get a shot here. So this would be one hall, and this is the hall for 173, where they've just basically knocked the two.
Yeah, because
They've given access between the two, not necessarily made them the same home.
So this is a...
Now, so this is why this is significant, because we're in number 173 now, and as you can see, as I look to the carpet, Ben,
Yeah.
you know, just zooming in there for
You can
folks,
see the
you can
marks
see
of
the
the
marks where furniture was, and I'm assuming that those marks will add up with the feet.
The lady who dwells here, she was in her 70s, and she's quite upset and frightened about this, and she told the sheriff that that was her stuff. Now she doesn't know money to
This was the
anybody.
city sheriff, correct?
City sheriff, and she told him that that furniture belonged to her, and she doesn't know money to anybody.
Okay.
And they took it anyway.
So, seemingly something was placed through the letterbox by the guy acting as a locksmith. It came up here, he twiddled this knob, and then he pushed a handle, and that's how everybody gained entry, yeah? Almost nobody I know would choose tomorrow to not fulfill their contractual obligations. We as a people, as a humanity, we tend to want to perform on our contractual obligations with one another. If a contractual obligation is an impossibility, the law, we're told, will not withstand an impossibility. And yet I see people being foreclosed upon and evicted all around when it's inevitable. It was inevitable from day one, from the moment they signed. The bank knew. It was absolutely certain, sure. And they don't make that clear. They don't say that to people. They do say, oh, by the way, if you don't maintain and keep up payments. But that's not the same thing as saying, oh, by the way, it's mathematically impossible for everybody we have lent money to, supposedly, to pay it back to us.
I'm impressed by the depth of the discussion in Ireland and the understanding of complex economic, financial sector issues.
What are you selling, Benny? What's different about you?
We're selling direct democracy. That was in our first constitution, and it's basically that the people should decide on major issues. So, like, if you want to bail out the banks, you ask the people. and the people feel disenfranchised and disconnected from the government. They haven't been consulted in one of the most, probably the biggest issue to hit the country since the foundation of the state.
Now, I've had people say to me, oh well, that's not true, Vin, because there's other banks. But that's not true either. There are no other banks, folks. There's just banking.
But also when I come from the airport with a taxi driver, they are often very well informed, I must say.
Klaus Manich, did your taxi driver tell you how the Irish people are bewildered that we are required to pay unguaranteed bondholders billions of euros for debts that the Irish people have no relation to or no bearing with, primarily to bail out or to ensure the solvency of European banks? Or if the taxi driver had asked you that question, what would have been your response?
Can you ask the second question?
Well, my second question is a completely different issue, and I may have a follow-through if Mr. Masters doesn't answer the question in a way that would illuminate the taxi driver's understanding of all this. I would have a follow-through question.
Right. Can I ask you then to pass the mic, and we'll come back to you for the second question?
Yeah, well, if you don't mind, that's a way of breaking up the exchange, and I would prefer if it went this way. We have a tradition in Irish journalism that we pursue issues, and that when somebody doesn't ask a question, we follow through on it, and I hope that tradition will be respected on this occasion. So could you answer the question? Answer the question.
Yeah.
Mr. Vincent, I have answered a very similar question of you. I think it was 2 reviews ago.
You addressed the question. You addressed the questions previously.
I addressed the question. Yes. I answered it.
I would say I can understand that this is a difficult decision to be made by the government, and there's no doubt about it. But there are different aspects of the problem to be balanced against each other, and I can understand that the government came to the view that all in all the costs for the Irish people, for the stability of the banking system, for the confidence in the banking system of taking certain action in this respect, which you were mentioning, could likely have been much bigger than the benefits for the taxpayer, which of course would have been there. So the financial sector would have been affected, the confidence of the financial sector would have been negatively affected, and I can understand that there was a difficult decision, but that the decision was taken in this direction.
Once the banks have reduced the money supply or stopped the money supply, they know for certain sure on the other end of that scale they get to gather up all of these properties.
I'm asking you a question though, and I keep asking the same question. Yeah. The registrar gives the order, then he puts on his sheriff's hat and tells you go and repossess the home. Exactly, and you think that's fair? That's right. And lawful? Yeah. Well, I'm telling you it's not. And I'm asking the Gardaí today to uphold common law, which they're sworn to do. And this is not common law. Now, also under the Constitution, a man's house is inviolable under the Constitution except as to law. What law did this man break?
I'm not saying he broke any law.
Right, but then why are we here?
He broke no law. We're required to pay in respect of this defunct bank billions on unguaranteed bonds in order to ensure the health of European banks. How would you explain that situation to the taxi driver that you talked about earlier?
I think I have addressed the question.
No, you haven't addressed the question because you've referred to the viability of the Irish financial institutions. This financial institution I'm talking about is defunct. It's over, it's finished. Now, why are the Irish people required under threat from the ECB to pay billions to unguaranteed bondholders under threat to the ECB? You didn't answer the question the last time, so maybe you'd answer it this time.
Well, I think he doesn't have anything to add to what he's already said.
Sorry, this isn't good. This isn't good enough. Sorry, this isn't good enough. You people are intervening in this society, causing huge damage by requiring us to make payments not for the benefit of anybody in Ireland, but for the benefit of European financial institutions. Now, could you explain why the Irish people are inflicted with this burden?
Well, I think I have addressed the question.
You've nothing to say. There's no answer. Is that right? Is that it? No answer?
I have given an answer.
He's given an answer.
You have given an answer that doesn't address the question.
That's your view.
That is my view, and I think it would be the view of the taxi driver and the view of our viewers tonight.
Right. Can we please move on?
What you are witnessing here is a robbery, the wholesale theft of a nation's wealth. These people are essentially drones and robots, and they have to be in order to lack the imagination or understanding to realize what it is they're actually doing to the people they are destroying. They are partying at the expense of the Irish people, but have failed to invite them to the celebrations. Now, you might think that the government of Ireland is legitimate, and that would be understandable. However, there are some out there who might give you an argument.
It's a very simple idea. You just basically, on major issues, you ask the people. It was in our first constitution. You let the people decide. You want to bail out the banks? Let the people decide. You want to sell off our assets? Let the people decide. The people should have a say. Otherwise, it's not democracy or anything like it. And the people like that message on the door.
Ben Gilroy has assisted a woman and a family understand some of the differences here, and they had a pub. The pub went into receivership. I think the value was 1.2 million, something like that. Now, they went into the courtroom. Ben spoke as a Mackenzie on behalf of the woman, a Mackenzie friend. But he did ask the court, or the judge, or whomever, what was the value of their jurisdiction. Now, seemingly in the circuit court, again, I'd have to double check, but in around anywhere between, say, 36 to 38,000 euros. The property being valued approximately at 1.2 million, and in order to comply with the order to the level of its jurisdiction, Ben is going to suggest to the people in the pub that they take out their books, their accounts, and they go through and they say, okay, well, this Guinness tap, for example, this tap here, these 2 tables and 8 chairs and the smoking room and access to the toilets or the bathrooms or other facilities, parking. If we sign that over to, I think it was KPMG, then we have complied with the court order up to the jurisdictional level. So the court should have no complaint, and they will not lose the rest of their property, which in theory, even though the judgment has been made against them, their level of compliance, if the court only has a jurisdiction up to 38,000, shall we say, well, they're complying up to the jurisdiction that the court has. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I don't think they're going to be too happy about this, but again, seeking solutions.
This news report was aired in June 2012. 4 months earlier, a receiver had been appointed. This landlady had lost her bar. However, Helen Waterman of the Junction Bar in Cork is made of sterner stuff.
We have informed the manager here that the receiver has been fired, and as a result he has been fired, so we're asking him to leave the premises.
In spite of allegedly owing the bank 1 million in euros. They turned up at the bar, and once the court-appointed management team opened up, they simply retook possession.
As I said to you before, we will negotiate. That's all I'm saying on that. We're here now to fight and to negotiate.
Do you think people should have sympathy for you? Because look, as I said, with respect, you're the same as thousands of other families around the country.
No, we're not looking for sympathy, we're looking for justice from the bank, basically. We're not looking for any sympathy.
This is a bar she has owned for 32 years.
When she got back to work behind the counter, receivers KPMG were being put on notice.
Just basically that we terminating his position as receiver here until such a time as he documents and verifies obligations that he's claiming here.
I think for the moment all of the businesses around who've had judgments taken against them and who have lost the entire business, even though business is worth supposedly millions, even though the judgment might have been for 2/3 of the value of the company, or all of the value of the company, or more than the value of the company.
Yeah.
But the jurisdiction, if it was only 38,000, then if they can say, well, here, I've complied, there's your 38,000, I'm keeping the rest.
Yeah.
If I was a businessman, I'd be paying quite a bit of attention to that, I think.
Now, the guy who does owe some money to somebody, seemingly, allegedly, he is actually across the road in Beaumont Hospital now. there's something wrong now.
Can I just ask what age group is the woman who lives here, the mother?
The mother's in her 70s.
And what age group is?
She's badly shook inside. And the other guy here is around 50.
Okay, and he's over in Beaumont.
He's over now.
Which is literally across the road, Beaumont Hospital.
But the ambulance had to take him, he was in a bad way. In this particular case, Mr. Jerry Burns had a business here in Navan, got into difficulty with the banks. He looked for several meetings with the bank to try and come to some resolution with the bank. That wasn't forthcoming, and when he requested documents, all of a sudden the heavy arm tactic of the bank was to put in the receivers. So the receiver moved into the premises, unknown to Jerry, changed the locks and put security men inside and outside the shop. And remember, this is only a small business with one employee. So I said to Jerry, was he aware that the receiver works as an agent for Jerry? This was an absolute surprise for Jerry. He thought the receiver worked for the bank. And then we clearly showed them outside that the receiver was removed from his position as receiver. Why? Because under the Conveyancing Act, the receiver acts as an agent for the owner. Okay, and he has fired him, so he's able to do that.
What situation do you find yourselves here today then?
We just want them not to be trespassing. He just wants, if they want to take court orders, to go ahead and do that. So they're well entitled to do that.
To me, offhand, the matter appears civil.
Yeah, of course, it's civil, absolutely.
Unless there's a criminal allegation related.
The guards made it very clear that it was a civil matter then, and that had nothing to do with them. So we were happy enough to remain a civil matter. And we basically changed the locks back and gave possession of the shop back to Jerry.
So where do we move from here?
Ring the locksmith.
Yeah, you've taken possession, so, you've taken possession. So yeah.
Now, there were a group of men that we could clearly see on the footage, Ben, going in, and there was
9 men.
There was a document. Can we see the document?
Sure, yeah. Go on.
There was a document left.
So let's go into the other house.
Back into 171.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to read because I believe this is a copy of...
Yeah, it's a photocopy. The guards took the original because this copy didn't come out too well.
Okay, so now can you explain to people why the Gardaí were asked to attend?
Sure, well, I mean, there was a break and entry here.
Oh, actually, can we...
And an actual theft of stuff. Now, luckily enough, here's the CCTV system that they didn't notice. A registrar has only got the jurisdiction of something like 36,000 in the circuit court, am I right? Are you telling me this house is worth 36,000 or he hasn't stepped out of jurisdiction?
I'm not going to put a value on the house
at all. Of course, yeah, well he stepped out of jurisdiction. I can tell you it's more than 36,000.
Well, obviously the order was fully okay.
Well, obvious to who?
When the High Court dealt with it.
But that doesn't matter. What I'm saying to you is the High Court is not above the Constitution in this country, nor is it above common law. They're commercial courts and they've no jurisdiction here.
I believe it was about 5 to 12 approximately.
Yeah. So...
and it's camera 1, I believe. This is the door here in camera 1, yeah?
Yeah.
Somebody, 4 views here. So there's somebody in a van. Okay, so there's a chap at the door. He knocked at the door. He knocked at the door. We did see he knocked.
There's a few more.
There's another chap standing there with another.
The paper, so that's powerful, isn't it?
He seems to have something, yeah. Okay, so here's the locksmith. Ben, he has a tool.
Yeah.
He inserts in the door.
He's rolling the wheel. And there you go.
And he's in.
That seems to be very quick.
And the minute he opens the door...
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people all trespassing now. And watch how quick they start removing furniture.
Okay, the moment the last guy is only just in.
No authority being
Locksmith is out. We don't know who this gentleman is, but he's got some paperwork with him.
And here they come with the furniture.
There goes the furniture. That quick, folks.
Yeah, does that look lawful to anybody?
Is that the furniture, Ben, from next door, as opposed to not this house that they went into? They actually trespassed in 2 properties, really.
They did, yeah. They're trespassing in 2 properties.
Right.
The furniture is a mix from both sides. They have taken some here, like mirrors and stuff like that. You'll see them coming out now with a mirror as well, but that's from the other side of the house. Yeah, but the bank got paid for it, though. No, the bank got paid.
Securitisation.
The bank got paid for it.
If they did, I wouldn't be here.
Now look, hold on a second. What I'm saying to you today is, under the Constitution, Section 40, Section 5, Subsection 5, a man's house is unviable under the Constitution except as to the law. We're all law-abiding people. And what I'm saying to you is, respect the law, and the Gardaí should respect the law as well, the common law which they were sworn to uphold. And the man has not broken any law, so his home is unviable.
Well, why am I... I don't know why I'm standing here today.
Yeah, neither do we.
We're saying the same
That's
thing.
all the case.
But the court judgment is signed by your boss, the sheriff.
Well, I mean, if everything you say
is true, well,
which is true.
Will I show you the Constitution?
I don't see the Constitution. I'm not a solicitor.
So what I'm going to do, I got a missed call there from a Skype contact. That's, I believe it's Claire,
right?
The woman we're talking about, who just going to serve this up. Okay, I'm after adding it in now. You should hear it ringing in a minute. Hello, Marion. Is that Marion? Yes. Marion, hi. I've Claire on the line here. Claire, do you want to talk to Marion there?
Hi Marion, how are you? Yes, Claire. I'm actually with another call at the moment. Could you get me a phone back and see about 20 minutes?
That's no problem.
Okay, I'm just on the other line.
Why are they pushing ahead with this, Vin?
Right, you see...
What's their motive?
We have a right to be heard, a right to free speech. We want equality and have one of our goals reached. So listen up to what I'm letting plant the seed in your head. We're voting yes in this campaign, you are increasing the spread.
What's their motive?
Thank you.
Their motive.
The first change that you'll be asked to support is one that says that the state recognises that all our children have what they call natural and imprescriptible rights.
Ever remember that ad in 2003, Barnardo's, when it was the focus of criticism from the public and charity community alike, after it launched an ad campaign in which they showed a newborn baby with a cockroach crawling out of its mouth?
It recognises the importance of childhood. That means they have rights because they're children, and it means they have rights that cannot be changed. So once you say yes, all our children will have this set of rights forever. The effect of this is to make all of our children equal in the eyes of the law.
Their motivation, I would imagine, at the moment is they have a court order or a warrant of some description, and they're just acting upon it, and they seem to have conveniently disregarded your constitutional rights and your rights in general, all of your rights if you ask me.
Do you remember this one, in which the girl gets repeatedly hit over the head by her father, break the cycle, and all the criticism? Well over 400 complaints. Factoids on Bernardo, some stats you might want to consider.
Started in 1886, and its revenue?
245 million. 183,000 pounds sterling in the last tax year. 17,000 volunteers. 5,000 employees. Yeah, no wonder their motto is believe in children.
Well, Highland FM are ready to go. They know the story. They're willing to take the story. Let me know if you can hear it okay.
Hello. Yeah.
I understand the chap is under a lot of pressure. Apparently her mother and father are giving him a lot of grief. He's getting grief from Garda Síochána. He's getting grief from some local political party, the Sinn Féin party, he says.
Absolutely.
I'm going to leave it at that.
I say that because
he doesn't say, isn't it?
It's what he doesn't say. And today, you see, I was talking to Claire, as we're talking to her right now. She's on the phone listening to this on Skype. And I hope she's not upset when I come back to her. But she expressed a desire or an opinion that she did not want to go back down there. And this call from Paul seems to say he's under extreme pressure to get her back down there for whatever reason. And it just stinks to high heaven to me. That's all I can say. That's my gut feeling. We felt Paul was under pressure. I was listening to that live, and I felt Paul was under pressure. I felt either there was Garda Síochána with him, or there was Sinn Féin guys with him, and somebody, as far as I'm concerned, seemed to be putting Paul under tremendous duress and stress.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
On Saturday, November 10th,
we'll be asked to decide on whether or not we should change how our constitution addresses the rights of children.
We all have a part to play in making this decision.
Make sure you play yours. Before you vote on Saturday, November 10th, get the facts about the children referendum.
read the independent guide delivered to your home or visit referendum2012.ie.
And when we're talking about children here, we have to remember we're not just talking about little toddlers, we're talking also about teenagers right up to the age of 18. And I would say that this amendment, to a large extent, is a confidence trick, in the sense that it's putting forward this idea that it's really concerned with the small number of children that are very vulnerable and that we have to do something in order to protect. First of all, the law is quite adequate to protect children at the moment. The failure in protecting children was not due to the Constitution, it was due to the state and the way the state intervened in situations. But what we're proposing here, what the real agenda, I think, behind this amendment is to give the state the right to intervene in all families.
If a man commits murder out there and runs into a home, I agree the Gardaí can go into the house because that house is viable. You can go into it because he has broken the law. But that's the only case under our constitution where a man's home is viable. Jerry then gets a letter from the receiver to say he'll be out in the next day or two to take back the premises again and change the locks. So we decided we'd wait for him. So when he arrives, we question him. Yes.
Huh?
You still haven't seen the order?
I've seen the order.
We didn't see it. No.
I'm going back to court for doing contempt. That's okay.
Any sign to see the order yet? You still haven't shown us a court order.
I've seen the order and you're refusing to accept it.
No, Mr. Lowe. We haven't seen a signed court order, and you know the law very well, Cedar. You're doing this dirty job often enough.
I'm not doing a dirty job.
Yeah, you are, for Danske Bank. His whole demeanour was, how dare you basically question this? I mean, like, a court has allowed this to happen, so it must be all lawful. And they're so brainwashed and blinkered into this, that nobody has rights anymore once some commercial court says so. That's a nonsense.
Can I just tell you, Vin, I've just gotten a call from a friend back home, and she's after telling me that the guards, when I was on the phone to my mother earlier on, they had broken into my house while Paul was inside. The ex was there. They left the ex into the house and everything.
What?
Yes. The guards left him in. They're after starting a witch hunt now. They took Paul's phone off him. They have Robbie's contact. I don't know who else Paul has on his phone. The ex was screaming and shouting, saying that get the girl about my friend, saying that she's connected to WIFF in Waterford. They're trying to make this out to be some kind of cult or something.
Yeah. I had a feeling. Now you see, as I said, Claire, the only way to do this is, and it's not easy, but brutal honesty is required. Brutal honesty. I don't think there's any option other than to go to this, well, literally the Supreme Court with this issue. I mean, I don't have the experience to go and bring stuff into the court using their processes. You know what I mean? My whole study has been how to invert and destroy their processes, not use them. That still won't necessarily stop them prosecuting or going after the case that they feel they've now built up. They might say, okay, well, that's the child dealt with, but now there's this other issue that you absconded, yada, yada, yada. I think it's vital at this stage, Claire, you get your...
Claire's not listening. She's gone out at the moment. She's having a little stress out at the moment.
Okay.
So I'm here listening on their behalf.
Yeah, no, but John, no, it's hard for her, because it looks like the whole world is after her and the whole police force is after her, and you get this sort of criminal mentality then that you must be a criminal when they're all looking at you,
Yeah.
Hello?
Hi, Marion, is it okay for you now to talk?
Hi, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, well, Claire's just a little bit upset at the moment. She's had to go outside to compose herself. Seemingly, the Garda Síochána allowed her ex-partner to enter her home, even though she told her family she gave permission for no one to enter her home. Seemingly, they've actually let her ex-partner in around her home as well. So she's feeling she's very emotionally upset by that at the moment.
My biggest concerns at the moment would be how safe she actually is now because of what we did today.
She is basically telling the entire structure of the so-called state to take a running jump. like, this was Claire's decision to do this, and she you know, I mean, we will all support her in that. I mean, I'm supporting her, you're supporting her, we're all supporting her. We'll do whatever it takes.
This is not a property we're dealing with here, lads. This is me and my son. They forced entry into my house and left other people in as well.
We're all trying to do everything we can, but I mean, we're not an army. We don't have national media that we can just, you know, insist they run this story. You know, that the help that's been offered to you. Just imagine, what would you have done if that hadn't have been there, Claire? Big Brother wants to stick a needle in a child's arm and inject poison. I'm not good with that, and I mean, Claire, if necessary, I will stand in front of you in between those people. I will. And I'm sure Ben would too, and thousands of us would. But we haven't got there yet.
I think it's appalling that we are even considering putting this amendment in the Constitution. I think it is so destructive of family life, the rights of the child to be protected by his or her parents, and the rights of parents to protect their children.
It recognises the importance of childhood.
Right.
And, you know, in the past, we often haven't recognised that.
Oh, yeah.
And
right.
secondly, the effect of this is to make all of our children.
There's no mention here of the Cedars controversy. Don't know if you know about that one. That's a detention centre, which is, you know, managed on behalf of the UK Border Agency by Barnardo's, in partnership with G4 Security. Barnardo's has been criticised, not least by Francis Webber of the Institute of Race Relations, together with many other critics, for legitimising child detention as an agenda. They sure as hell believe in children.
I think there should be more people around me, like, you know.
Well, to be honest, if anything, I mean, I would suggest that the less people around you, the better. If it was me, I would want to be squirreled away somewhere with nobody around me.
And that's the guy who's been doing family law for the last number of years, and he said quite categorically they can't do this. But he also knows about law cases from the Supreme Court. And he said if the girl needs somewhere to stay, there's no problem there as well either.
And this is a new aspect of law that I'm getting into, because family law would be my thing. Was to give to both parents of an infant equal rights in guardianship matters. Now that's very important. Both parents, right? Doesn't say one, it says both. Okay.
It's, in other words, we can override any part of any statute as we see fit, as if it affects family.
Now I'm at this 12 years, and basically if I knew then what I know now, wouldn't I be the wiser man? But I would never have gone near a court.
Right.
Never. They have no right to interfere with a family.
Correct. Unless you give it to them. You see, the problem is people are giving it to them without realising it.
It's the whole thing is geared to destroy families. It just goes to show the power that these people think they have, and they've been getting away with impunity for decades.
The Constitution, I mean, I keep saying to the guys, well, look, use it as a tool. It's a very effective tool once you know how to stick to it, like the proverbial to a blanket.
Yes.
And when you say to them, well, you have no provision to overrule me, but in the Constitution I have a provision to overrule you.
Correct.
But we the people need to tell them, I'm overruling you.
Yes.
Under Article 41.11, you're overruled.
And what they're doing is they're using the in-camera rule, right, to protect. It's not to protect the family. They'll come across with this, excuse me, to tell you that you're doing in-camera to protect the family, to protect children and protect this, that, and the other.
The state has just raped her. That's absolutely disgusting and abhorrent. It's repugnant. It seems now, John, she's protecting her child, her offspring, from the actual state itself.
Correct.
Now, the Constitution clearly outlines a position where she can do that. But what she needs to know is the process to get that into the Supreme Court, to have that right upheld, to quash all below it.
I mean, democracy, you know, when you ask the people and you go wrong answer and go and ask them again, I mean, that's a little bit worrying. I mean, you don't come up with the right answer, we're going to ask you again. That's a nonsense.
She's going to go to the hospital with him.
Okay, breathe in through nose and out through your mouth. That's it. Slow right down.
So the position then for the family, Ben, is one thing. The position for the people of Ireland, Ben, what's your position there in regards to, you know, is this what we the people on this land have to look forward to?
Yeah, well, it looks like it is, unless we stand up against this sort of tyranny. Now, in fairness to the Gardaí, there were two nice Gardaí that came out, and even they looked at the video and said, that just doesn't seem right.
No.
And I mean, I said, no, it doesn't. So I said, you know, we're making a complaint here, and a complaint has been registered.
So what are they coming back for? What did they take in the first place?
Yep.
I'll follow you up. Do you want me to drive you? Yeah, well, yeah.
That's right, I'll do this. All right, Chris?
My daughter's gone off to get receipts.
Receipts?
Yeah, what's furniture.
All
So
right.
they have to prove it's mine.
How are they going to prove it's yours?
I have to prove it's mine.
Right.
How am I going to do that?
I have no idea.
For years and years.
I'm sure the swore affidavit should do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a lift anyway, yeah? It is back door locked. Which way is that? This way?
You know, you watch that TV stuff, it's all action heroes. They do supernatural stuff, like jump from building to building, transport themselves between dimensions. Well, forget all that stuff. On TNS Radio are the real action heroes. Don't you forget it. Stay tuned, stay switched on, and let the revolution of the mind continue. Until next time, keep on thinking free.